A girl's trust in a useless dog unearths stolen military secrets in a summer ditch. Can she outsmart a criminal ring? Like, subscribe and hit the bell for the latest thrilling stories. The auctioneer's gavel crashed like thunder, jolting Lily's heart as she stood rigid under the blazing summer sun. The fairgrounds buzzed with life, the air heavy with dust, hay, and the sharp tang of sweat. Cowboys in sweat-stained hats lounged against the splintered wooden fence, their boots kicking up clouds of parched earth, their murmurs turning to snickers as the next lot shambled forward, a scruffy dog, its fur matted, head bowed under the weight of a tattered leash. Lily, 10 years old, gripped a rusty tin can stuffed with its savings quarters, dimes, crumpled dollar bills earned from weeding gardens and washing dishes. Her braids swung as she pushed onto her tiptoes, eyes locked on the dog, oblivious to the crowd's growing amusement. Lot 47. The auctioneer roared, his voice slicing through the morning clamor of clinking spurs and buzzing flies. Service dog, retired, name's Rusty. Folks, this mutt's a washout, start the bids. The crowd erupted, laughter rolling like a wave, men slapping their knees, their jeers cutting deep. Ain't worth a nickel, one hollered, spitting tobacco into the dirt. Lily's cheeks flushed, her pulse racing, but she didn't waver. She saw what they couldn't, Rusty's eyes, sharp as flint, scanning the crowd with a precision that wasn't canine, wasn't broken. Her dad, Tom, a wiry farmer in a faded plaid shirt, grabbed her shoulder, his voice low. Lily, honey, that dog's no good. We can't afford a mistake. She shook her head, her voice small but unyielding. He's not a mistake. Dad, I feel it. The auctioneer, a barrel-chested man with a crooked grin, leaned forward, sensing a spectacle. Come on, who's got $1 for this sorry hound? Good for nothing but sleeping in the shade. The laughter swelled, a cowboy in a black hat shouting, let the kid take him. She's the only one dumb enough. Lily's fists clenched, the tin can rattling, her nails digging into her palms. She'd spent months reading about service dogs, their training, their loyalty, their hearts. Rusty wasn't finished, he was waiting, and she'd prove it. Shoving through the crowd, she ignored the snickers, the elbows nudging her, and thrust her hand high. $10, the fairground fell silent for a heartbeat, then exploded. Hoots and whistles piercing the air. The auctioneer's jaw dropped, his grin widening. 10. You kidded me, little lady. Lily stood taller, her voice ringing. $10. Tom's hand tightened, his whisper urgent. Lily, that's everything you got. She yanked free, eyes blazing, her heart a drumbeat. He's worth more. The crowd's laughter turned vicious, a woman cackling. Hope you like fleas, kid. The auctioneer banged the gavel, milking the moment. 10 going once, twice sold to the girl with more guts than brains. The crowd roared, a cowboy tossing a bottle cap at Lily's feet. Another yelling, better teach him to fetch your money back. Lily's throat tightened, but she pushed forward, the sea of hats parting reluctantly. A handler, face sour, yanked Rusty's leash, the dog stumbling, his paws scuffing the dirt. Up close, Rusty was lean, his brown and black fur tangled, one ear notched, but his eyes, God, they burned with a quiet fire, locking onto Lily like she was his mission. She knelt, dust coating her jeans, and offered her hand. Hey, Rusty, I'm Lily. The dog sniffed, his nose warm, then licked her fingers, his tail giving a slow, deliberate wag. The handler snorted, tossing her the leash. Good luck, kid. He's too old for tricks. Lily gripped the rope, her heart pounding as she led Rusty away, the crowd's jeers fading into the hum of cicadas. Tom trailed, muttering, your mom's gonna have my hide. Lily didn't care. Rusty's weight pressed against her leg, steady, like he'd chosen her to. They reached the truck, parked under a sagging oak, the sun climbing higher, heat shimmering off the hood. Lilu climbed into the truck bed, Rusty leaping up with a grace that belied his ragged look. She stroked his fur, finding scars beneath the mats clean, precise, like blade marks, not brawls. Her stomach twisted. "Who hurt you?" she whispered. Rusty's ears flicked, his gaze snapping to the horizon, as if catching a sound beyond human reach. Tom started the engine, the truck rattling down the dirt road, dust swirling in their wake. "He better not chew my tools," he grumbled. But Lily caught his glance soften in the rear view. At home, a weathered farmhouse framed by golden wheat fields. Lily's mom, Sarah, stood on the porch, arms crossed. A dog with Lily were stretched thin. Lily hopped down, Rusty at her heels, her voice firm. "He's special. Mom, you'll see." Sarah's eyes narrowed, but she paused, watching Rusty sit straight, his posture almost military, his gaze sweeping the yard like a sentinel. That night, Lily made Rusty a bed in the barn, the summer air thick with cricket song, the sky a tapestry of stars. She snuck him chicken scraps, watching him eat with careful, measured bites, not like a stray. His eyes kept darting to the fields, ears perked, body tense. Lily lay beside him on the straw, whispering, "You're home now." Rusty nudged her hand, his warmth steadying her. But as moonlight spilled through the barn's slats, a low growl rumbled from his throat, his hackles rising, gaze fixed on the dark beyond the fields. Lily's heart skipped, her fingers tightening on his collar. Something was out there, and Rusty sensed it. The auction's laughter echoed in her mind, but it was drowned by a fire in her chest. Rusty wasn't useless, he was hers, and he was ready for something bigger than anyone could imagine. Lily's sneakers crunched on the dry grass as she sprinted after Rusty, the summer sun scorching her shoulders, the air thick with dust and the hum of cicadas. The fields stretched golden around the farmhouse, their edges meeting a parched ditch where weeds tangled like barbed wire. Rusty, leash trailing, tore ahead, his scruffy fur bouncing, his nose low to the ground, a low growl rumbling in his throat. Lily's heart raced 3 weeks since the auction, and Rusty's restlessness had grown, his eyes always darting to the horizon, his body tense like a coiled spring. "Rusty, slow down," she called, her braid whipping as she ran. But the dog ignored her, paws kicking up dirt. "Her dad," Tom shouted from the porch. Lily, keep that mutt out of trouble, but she barely heard. Her focus locked on Rusty's frantic pace. He'd been calm at home, sleeping in the barn, eating scraps. But out here he was different, driven, like he was chasing a ghost. Rusty skidded to a stop at the ditch, his claws tearing into the cracked earth, digging with a fury that sent clods flying. Lily caught up, panting, her hands on her knees. "What's got you so worked up?" as she gasped, squinting against the sun. Rusty's growls deepened, his teeth bared, as he unearthed something hard, metallic, glinting under the dirt. Lily's stomach lurched. She dropped to her knees, brushing away soil, her fingers grazing a rusted surface, a crate. Heavy, locked, with faded markings she couldn't read. "Dad," she screamed, her voice echoing across the fields. Rusty kept digging, his paws relentless, revealing more of the crate, its edges sharp, its weight sinking into the earth. Tom jogged over, his plaid shirt damp with sweat, his face creasing with confusion. "What the Lily? Get back." He knelt, inspecting the crate, his fingers tracing a stenciled emblem, a shield, letters DOD. "Department of Defense," he muttered, his voice tight. Lily's heart pounded. "What's that mean?" Tom's eyes darkened, his hand pulling her away. "Means trouble. Stay here." He sprinted to the farmhouse. Rusty barking sharply, his body tense, guarding the crate like a sentinel. Lily's mind raced the auction. The cowboy's laughter. Rusty's scars. This wasn't random. She stroked Rusty's fur, finding those precise cuts again, her throat tightening. You knew, didn't you? Rusty's eyes met hers, steady, almost human. His tail still. Tom returned, phone in hand, his voice urgent as he dialed 911. Sheriff, it's Tom Harper. Found something buried by our ditch metal crate. Looks military. Yeah, DOD markings. Send someone fast. He hung up, his face pale. Lily, this ain't good. That dog stirred up something big. Lily clung to Rusty's leash, her pulse hammering. He's not just a dog. Dad. Tom didn't argue, his eyes flicking to Rusty, who stood rigid, ears perked, scanning the fields. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Dust clouds rising as two sheriff's trucks roared up the road. Sheriff Daniels, a broad man with a big gray mustache, climbed out, his deputy trailing. Tom, what's this about, he asked, squinting at the crate. Tom pointed, and Daniels knelt, his gloved hands brushing dirt, his face hardening. This is federal. Nobody touch it. He grabbed his radio, voice clipped. Dispatch, get me FBI. We've got possible stolen military property. Lily's breath caught. FBI. She looked at Rusty, who hadn't moved, his growl low, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The deputy, a young woman named Carter, approached, eyeing Rusty. This the dog that found it thought he was a reject. Lily's voice was fierce. He's not. He knew it was here. Carter raised an eyebrow, but Daniels nodded, his eyes narrowing. Dog's got instincts. Might be more than he looks. The sheriff's team cordoned off the ditch, yellow tape snapping in the breeze. As more vehicles arrived, a black SUV, federal plates. Two agents in dark suits stepped out, their faces unreadable, one carrying a case, the other scanning the scene. Agent Ruiz, FBI. The taller one said, kneeling by the crate, "We'll take it from here." He glanced at Rusty, then Lily. "Kid, how'd your dog find this?" Lily stood tall, her hand on Rusty's collar. He just knew. He's special. Ruiz's eyes lingered. Then he turned to Daniels. "Secure the crate. We're cracking it open at the station." Tom pulled Lily close, his voice low. "Stay quiet, honey. This is bigger than us." But Lily couldn't stay quiet. Not when Rusty's ears twitched, his growl sharpening as the agents moved the crate. She noticed a faint hum, like electronics, coming from inside, and Rusty's hackles rose, his body tensing toward the fields. "Dad, he sees something," she whispered. Tom followed her gaze, spotting a glint binoculars, a figure. It was gone in a flash, swallowed by the wheat. His jaw tightened. "Sheriff, someone's watching." Daniels spun, hand on his holster, but the fields were empty, the sun glaring. "We'll sweep the area," he said, signaling Carter. The agents loaded the crate, their movements quick, but Rusty's growls didn't stop, his eyes tracking something Lily couldn't see. Her heart thundered. She'd trusted Rusty at the auction, and he'd led her here. This wasn't just a crate, it was a secret, and Rusty was the key. As the feds drove off, dust swirling, Lily knelt by Rusty, her voice firm. "We're in this together." Rusty licked her hand, his eyes burning with purpose, and Lily knew the laughter from the auction was about to be silenced by something far bigger. The summer heat pressed down on the Harper farmhouse, the air shimmering over golden fields, the hum of cicadas drowned by the rumble of federal SUVs pulling into the yard. Lily stood on the porch, her hand tight on Rusty's collar, the dog's scruffy fur warm under her fingers, his low growl vibrating as agents in dark suits spilled out, their boots kicking up dust. The crate Rusty had unearthed by the ditch rusted. marked with DOD insignia, had ignited a firestorm. And now the FBI was here, their radios crackling, their eyes sharp. Lily's heart pounded, her braids sticking to her sweaty neck, the memory of the auction's laughter fading under the weight of something bigger. Her dad wiped his brow, his plaid shirt damp, his voice low. Lily, stay calm. Don't say too much. Her mom, Sarah, hovered by the door, arms crossed, her face pale. This is trouble. Tom, that dog's brought the government to our doorstep. Lily's grip tightened. Rusty's eyes locked on the agents. His ears perked, body rigid like a soldier awaiting orders. She whispered, "We're okay, boy." But her pulse raced. Rusty wasn't just a dog, and they were starting to see it. Agent Ruiz, the lead investigator, approached, his suit crisp despite the heat, a tablet in hand. "Miss Harper, we need to talk about your dog." His tone was even, but his gaze flicked to Rusty, noting the dog's steady stare, the way he sat, almost military. Sheriff Daniels trailed behind, his gray mustache twitching, his deputy, Carter, scribbling notes. "Found more in the crate," Ruiz said, addressing Tom. "Encrypted comms gear, prototype drones, stolen DOD property, black market value in the millions." Lily's stomach lurched, her eyes darting to Rusty, who hadn't moved, his growl softening but his focus unbroken. Tom's voice was hoarse. "How'd it end up in our ditch?" Ruiz's eyes narrowed. "That's what we're here to find out. And your dog's no ordinary mutt. He's got training K9 level, maybe special ops." Lily's heart skipped. Special ops, she remembered Rusty's scars, his precision at the ditch, the way he'd sensed that shadow in the fields. Sarah stepped forward, her voice sharp. "He's a reject from an auction. Lily paid $10, Ruiz didn't blink. Then someone made a mistake. We need to test him." Lily's voice burst out. "Fierce, you're not taking him." Rusty's growl deepened, his hackles rising, and Carter flinched. Hand on her holster, Daniels raised a hand, calming her. "Easy, kid. They just want answers." Ruiz knelt, studying Rusty, who met his gaze without blinking, his posture unyielding. "Sit," Ruiz commanded. Rusty didn't move, his eyes flicking to Lily, waiting for her. She nodded, and Rusty sat, precise, like a machine. Ruiz's eyebrow rose. "Stay." Rusty stayed, his tail still, his focus locked. The agent stood, his voice low. "That's not pet training. That's tactical." He turned to Daniels. "We're bringing in a K9 specialist. If he's what I think, he's a lead." Lily's chest tightened. She was proud, but scared. What did they want with Rusty? Tom pulled her close, whispering, "Don't fight them. Lily, we're in deep." But Lily's eyes blazed. "He's mine. They can't have him." Sarah's hand gripped her shoulder, but her mom's eyes softened, seeing Rusty's loyalty, the way he leaned into Lily, protecting her. The agents set up in the yard, a tech unloading equipment scanners, cameras, a laptop humming with data. Carter approached Rusty, holding a device, her voice cautious. "Need to scan his chip." Lily nodded, holding Rusty steady, his fur warm, his scars rough under her fingers. The scanner beeped, and Carter frowned. "Chip's registered to a pet breeder, but it's off. Too new for a dog his age." Ruiz's head snapped up. Tampered. Carter nodded. "Could be. We'll need a deep read at the lab." Lily's heart sank. Tampered. Rusty's past was unraveling. And it wasn't just a sad story. The agents moved to the ditch, now a cordoned-off crime scene, yellow tape fluttering in the breeze. A tech pried open a second crate fragment, revealing wires. A faint glow. "Explosive trigger," he muttered, and Ruiz's face hardened. This wasn't just theft. This was sabotage. Lily's breath caught, her hand tightening on Rusty's collar. Sabotage. She looked at Rusty, who growled, his eyes scanning the fields, catching something a glint, a shadow, gone in a flash. Dad, she whispered. He's doing it again. Tom followed her gaze, his jaw clenching. Daniels, we saw someone out there yesterday. You check that, the sheriff nodded, signaling Carter. We swept, found nothing, but we'll do it again. As the agents worked, a news van rolled up, dust swirling, a reporter in a bright blouse leaping out, camera in tow. Miss Harper, she shouted, shoving a microphone toward Lily. Is it true your dog found stolen military tech? Lily froze, the crowd's laughter from the auction echoing. Tom pushed the reporter back, his voice firm. No comment, but the camera kept rolling. The reporter's voice, loud. A 10-year-old and a reject dog, heroes or fluke, Lily's cheeks burned. But she stood tall, Rusty pressing against her leg, his growl a warning. Ruiz stepped in, his voice sharp. This is a federal investigation. Leave. The reporter backed off, but the camera lingered, broadcasting live. Lily's stomach twisted. More people would come, and not all would be friendly. She remembered the shadow, Rusty's alertness, and felt a chill despite the heat. The K-9 specialist arrived, a woman with a clipboard, observing Rusty from a distance. He's got elite training, she said, watching him track her movements. If he's DOD, someone went to great lengths to hide it. Lily's resolve hardened. She'd protect Rusty, no matter what they found. As the sun climbed, the yard buzzed with agents, the ditch a hive of activity. Rusty growled again, his eyes fixed on the fields, and Lily knew this was just the beginning. The crate was a spark, and Rusty was the flame, burning toward a truth that could change everything. The Harper farmhouse buzzed with tension as the summer sun blazed overhead, its heat baking the dusty yard where federal agents swarmed like ants, their radios crackling, their boots stomping through the golden grass, while Lily clutched Rusty's collar, her sweaty palm pressed against his scruffy fur, his low growl a steady hum under the cicada's drone. His amber eyes locked on the K-9 specialist probing his neck with a scanner, the device beeping erratically, and Lily's heart thundered, her braids sticking to her neck. The memory of the ditch's rusted crate, DOD, marked, stuffed with stolen drones and explosives burning in her mind. Now a federal case that had turned her quiet life into a circus, with news vans clogging the road, their cameras flashing, reporters shouting her name, and Sheriff Daniels barking at them to stay back, his gray mustache twitching, while Agent Ruiz, suit crisp despite the sweat, stood nearby, his tablet glowing with data, his voice sharp as he said, "The chip's been rewritten, clean job, military-grade encryption, and the K-9 specialist." A wiry woman named Dr. Ellis nodded, her clipboard shaking, saying, "This dog's no reject. He's elite, probably DOD special ops, trained for high-threat ops." And Lily's breath caught, her eyes darting to Rusty, his scars clean, precise, like knife cuts making sense now, his military posture, his instincts at the ditch, and she whispered, "You're a hero, aren't you?" But fear gnawed at her. What if they took him? Her dad, Tom, stood close, his plaid shirt damp, his hand on her shoulder, whispering, "Lily, don't draw attention," while her mom, Sarah, paced the porch, muttering, "This is too much. We're farmers, not spies." But Lily's voice burst out, fierce, "He's mine. They can't have him." And Rusty's growl deepened, his hackles rising, as Dr. Ellis stepped back, saying, "His chip's tied to a ghost fake breeder. Dead-end records. Someone buried his past." And Ruiz's eyes narrowed, his voice low. "This points to a network, not just theft, but trafficking canines, tech, maybe people." And Lily's stomach lurched. Trafficking. The word heavy, like the crate's hum. And she remembered the shadow in the fields, Rusty's growls, the glint of binoculars, and her pulse spiked. Someone was watching. Daniels approached, his face grim, saying, "We found tire tracks near the ditch. Fresh. Not ours." And Ruiz's head snapped up. "Run them. Now." As a tech rushed to a laptop, pulling up satellite feeds. While the news vans grew louder, a reporter in a red blazer shoving a microphone through the fence, yelling, "Lily, is your dog a military weapon?" And Tom shoved her back, his voice a growl, "Leave my kid alone." But the camera kept rolling, broadcasting live, and Lily's cheeks burned, the auction's laughter echoing. Those cowboys who'd mocked her was replaced by a world watching, some calling her a hero, others whispering danger, and she felt Rusty's weight against her leg, steady, his eyes scanning the fields, catching something, a rustle, a shadow, gone in a flash, and she whispered, "Dad, he's doing it again." And Tom followed her gaze, his jaw clenching, muttering, "Daniels, check the perimeter." As the sheriff signaled Deputy Carter, who jogged to the fields, her hand on her holster, while Ruiz pulled Lily aside, his voice low, "Your dog's a lead, but he's also a target. Whoever hit him wants him gone." And Lily's heart sank. A target. She looked at Rusty, his scars, his fire, and vowed, "No one's touching you." But the yard buzzed with chaos, agents unpacking scanners, a drone humming overhead, and Dr. Ellis ran a test, tossing a ball, watching Rusty ignore it, then giving a hand signal sharp. Military and Rusty snapped to attention, moving with precision, making her gasp. "He's trained for explosives, not fetch." And Ruiz's face hardened, saying, "He found that crate for a reason. Someone's been using this area as a drop." And the tech shouted, "Gotta hit tire tracks match a vehicle registered to a shell company linked to black market arms." And Lily's mind raced. A network, hiding Rusty, hiding crates, and she noticed Rusty's growl sharpen, his body tensing toward the barn, where a shadow flickered. Too quick, too human, and she tugged Tom's sleeve, whispering, "There's someone out there," and he nodded, signaling Daniels, who drew his gun, moving silently, while the reporters sensed blood, their cameras zooming, one shouting, "Is the girl in danger?" And Lily's throat tightened, the world closing in, but Rusty pressed closer, his warmth grounding her. And she knew he'd led her to the crate, to this moment, and she'd follow him, no matter how deep the danger ran. As the sun climbed, the fields glowed, and the investigation roared to life. Rusty's passed a spark that could burn down a criminal empire, and Lily, just 10, was ready to fight for him, her heart aflame against the summer heats. The summer sun blazed over the crowded fairgrounds, its heat choking the air with dust and sweat, cicadas shrieking as news vans screeched to a halt, their horns blaring, cameras flashing like a storm, reporters shoving microphones through the mob, their shouts, "Lily, is your dog a secret weapon?" clashing with the roars of cowboys, once jeering at the auction, now chanting her name, their wide-brimmed hats swaying in a sea of chaos. But Lily's heart slammed against her ribs, her sweaty palm gripping Rusty's collar, his scruffy fur hot, his snarl a feral growl as he locked eyes on strangers slinking through the crowd, their faces taut, gazes too sharp, one in a gray cap, another in a dark jacket, and she felt danger tighten like a noose, her braid plastered to her neck, her debt. Tom, pressed close, his voice a hiss. "Lily, watch yourself. This crowd's trouble." While her mom, Sarah, wrestled a reporter back, yelling, "Get away from my daughter." But the cameras rolled, broadcasting live, and Lily's pulse thundered. The auction's mockery buried under #RustyHero and #KidNK9 exploding online. Millions watching. Agent Ruiz pushed through, his suit wrinkled, tablet buzzing, his voice slicing. Your story's viral, but it's a beacon for the network that hid Rusty. They're here now. And Lily's stomach plummeted. Network. She saw the gray cap man, his phone not filming but scanning, his eyes cold, and Rusty's snarl turned savage, his teeth flashing, making the man stumble back, melting into the mob, while the cowboy in a black hat from the auction clapped her shoulder, booming. You proved us wrong, kid, but his grin faded as a stranger in a hooded jacket edged closer, his hand in his pocket, something heavy bulging, and Rusty lunged, leash snapping taut, Lily yanking him back, her voice shaking. Stay, boy. But her heart raced. She was 10. Yet she defied the auction's jeers, trusted Rusty, and now the world was a battlefield. Sheriff Daniels fought through, his gray mustache twitching, shouting, clear the damn area, but the crowd surged, a reporter tripping, a cowboy shoving, yelling, give the girl room, and Lily felt caged, the praise a trap. Rusty's growls sharpening, his body coiling toward the hooded man, who slipped a knife from his sleeve, its blade glinting, and Lily's breath froze. She whispered, Dad, he's got a knife. Tom spun, signaling Daniels, who drew his gun, roaring, drop it. But the man bolted, dodging through the mob, and Deputy Carter sprinted after, her shouts lost in the chaos, while reporters smelled blood, one screaming, is the kid under attack? And cameras zoomed, Lily's cheeks burning, pride warring with terror. Ruiz grabbed her arm, his voice low. They want Rusty dead. He's their loose end, and you're in their sights. And Lily's blood ran cold. Loose end. She spotted the gray cap man again, circling back, now with another, both whispering, their hands on radios, eyes locked on Rusty, and the dog's snarl became a roar, his body surging, leash straining, Lily holding tight, her voice firm. No, Rusty, stay. But her resolve blazed. She'd bought him for $10, believed in him, and now he was a hero, a target, and she wouldn't let them win. Ruiz's radio crackled, a text shouting, shell companies linked to the crate's buyers, local arms dealers. They've got operatives here, and Daniel's face darkened, barking, secure the perimeter. As agents fanned out, barriers rising, a drone buzzing overhead, but the crowd turned feral, a bottle shattering near Lily's feet, glass skittering, a cowboy cursing, damn vultures, and another shoving a reporter, fists flying, while Sarah pulled Lily back, her voice cracking. This is insane, but Lily stood firm. Rusty's warmth her anchor, and she saw the hooded man's accomplice, near the vans, slipping something, a gun, into his waistband, and Rusty's growl hit a new pitch, his body vibrating, ready to strike. Carter returned, panting, saying, lost the knife man, but found a burner phone, coded texts. They're coordinated. And Ruiz muttered, this is a damn war. As the drone spotted a truck peeling out, dust billowing, and Daniel shouted, track that vehicle. But Lily's eyes stayed on Rusty, his scars, his fire, and she knew the network wasn't just watching. They were striking, testing her, and she felt their eyes, the gray cap man now joined by a third, their movements synchronized, closing in, and the crowd's chaos shielded them. A reporter knocked down, a cowboy tackling another, screams erupting, and Lily, just 10, clutched Rusty's leash, her heart a furnace, the world a blur of allies and enemies, and Rusty her shield, as the danger surged, promising a reckoning she'd face with every ounce of her courage. The summer heat a crucible for the fight she'd never expected but would never back down from, her resolve as fierce as Rusty's fire. The summer night pulsed with menace, crickets shrieking as Lily crouched in the barn straw, her flashlight's beam trembling. Rusty's scruffy fur hot against her. His growl a low thunder as his amber eyes pierced the dark beyond the open door, where moonlight bathed the dusty fields, the air thick with heat and dread. Lily's heart hammering. The day's chaos reporters, cheering cowboys, and those chilling strangers searing her mind. Hashtag Rusty Hero and hashtag Kid and K9 blazing online. Her phone buzzing with alerts. But now, past midnight, the silence was a trap. Rusty's snarl erupting, his hackles spiking, locking onto a scrape boots on gravel, and Lily's breath froze, her hand clutching his collar, whispering, "What's out there?" As a shadow loomed, hooded, a blade glinting, and another figure flanked it, their steps synchronized, predators closing in. Lily's pulse surged, the gray-capped man's sneer, the knife wielder's threat, the network's vow to silence Rusty flashing back. She swung her flashlight, its light catching the first man's scarred face, his voice a hiss. "Give us the kid, or you don't walk away." And the second, bulkier, cracked his knuckles, a gun bulging at his waist. Lily's fear ignited into defiance. She screamed. Never, and Rusty exploded, leash snapping like thread, his teeth sinking into the first man's arm, the knife skittering across the dirt, the man howling, blood spraying. But the second lunged, grabbing Lily's arm, his grip iron, snarling. "You're done," and pain shot through her wrist. She kicked his shin, twisting free, diving for the knife, her fingers grazing it as Rusty roared, slamming into the second man, jaws clamping his leg, dragging him down, the gun thudding into the straw. Lily scrambled, kicking the knife under a bale, yelling, "Dad, Mom." Her voice raw. The first man swung, his fist clipping her shoulder, pain flaring. But Rusty spun, pinning him again, his snarls feral, and Tom burst in, shotgun cocked, roaring, "Hands up or I shoot," as Sarah sprinted behind, phone to her ear, screaming, 911 intruder, now, and the men froze. The first bleeding, the second cursing, spitting. "The network owns you, kid. You're marked." And Lily's blood iced. Network. The criminals who buried Rusty's K9 passed, who hid the crate's explosives, now striking to kill. Headlights slashed the dark. Sheriff Daniels's truck skidding up, his gray mustache twitching as he leapt out. Gun drawn, Deputy Carter tackling the second man, cuffing him, her voice sharp. "You're done," while Agent Ruiz charged in, suit disheveled, shouting, "Talk." Lily and she gasped. They wanted Rusty, said the network sent them. Ruiz's face darkened, kneeling by the first man, who smirked, blood dripping, hissing, "You'll never break us." As Carter dragged him off, the second man thrashing, yelling, "She's dead." "You hear?" And Lily's knees shook, but Rusty pressed against her, his growl softening, his warmth her anchor. Sirens wailed, townsfolk flooding in, drawn by the chaos, their phones filming, shouting. That's the hero kid, but others, strangers, lingered at the edges, their eyes too cold, and Lily's skin prickled, the crowd swelling, cowboys from the auction pushing through, one in a black hat bellowing, "Protect that girl," while reporters shoved, one screaming, "Was this an assassination attempt?" And cameras zoomed, broadcasting live. Hashtag Rusty Hero spiking. Lily's cheeks burning, courage clashing with dread. Ruiz gripped her shoulder, his voice low. "These are foot soldiers. The network's desperate. Rusty's their Achilles heel." And Lily's throat closed. Achilles' heel. She looked at Rusty, his scars, his fire, and vowed, "They won't touch him." Tom hugged her, his voice cracking. "You're too brave, kid." While Sarah checked her wrist, sobbing, "This is madness." But Lily stood tall, Rusty's loyalty her steel. Daniels returned, saying, found their van surveillance gear, tranquilizers. They meant to snatch the dog. And Ruiz added in, we're tracing it. This is a syndicate, global. As agents swarmed, a drone buzzing, spotting a third figure bolting through the fields, Daniels shouting, cut him off. But the dark swallowed the suspect, and Lily's heart raced. The network's reach vast, their threat bolder. A reporter lunged, microphone thrusting. Lily, are you scared? And Ruiz shoved her back, barking. Federal operation. Clear out, but the crowd churned. A bottle shattering, a cowboy tackling a cameraman, chaos erupting, and Lily clutched Rusty's leash, her heart a furnace. The stranger's eyes still lurking, the network's shadow tightening, and she, just 10, felt the fight blaze. Rusty's snarl her courage, the summer night a crucible, the crowd a storm of saviors and threats, and she was ready, her resolve unbreakable. To face the war Rusty's past had unleashed, knowing this clash was a spark, and the fire was coming, fiercer than ever. The summer sun scorched the town square, its heat rippling off the pavement, the air heavy with sweat and tension as Lily stood on a wooden stage, her hand shaking on Rusty's collar, his scruffy fur hot, his amber eyes slicing through the roaring crowd, thousands crammed together, reporters' cameras flashing like gunfire, cowboys in wide-brimmed hats shouting her name, their once scornful jeers now fervent cheers, Lily's heart hammering, her braid damp against her neck. The barn attacks terror to intruders, Rusty's savage defense, their chilling vow of vengeance still raw, the criminal network's shadow looming, and now under a canopy of American flags, she faced a federal ceremony. Agent Ruiz beside his suit pristine, his voice thundering through a microphone. We honor Lily Harper and Rusty, whose bravery exposed a global trafficking syndicate. And the crowd exploded. Lily's cheeks flushing, pride warring with fear. Her dad, Tom, stood close, his plaid shirt pressed, his eyes glistening, whispering, "You're incredible, kid," while her mom, Sarah, squeezed her hand, murmuring, "Stay sharp, honey." But Lily's pulse surged, the gray-capped man's smirk, the fleeing suspect's outline haunting her, and Rusty's growl rumbled, his hackles twitching, spotting something in the mob. Sheriff Daniels patrolled the perimeter, his gray mustache tense, his holstered gun ready, Deputy Carter weaving through, her radio crackling. Ruiz continued. Rusty, a DOD Special Ops K-9, was stolen, his chip altered, sold to conceal a network trafficking arms, drones, explosives, and the crowd gasped, a cowboy bellowing. That dog's a warrior. But Lily noticed strangers at the edges, their eyes too cold, one in a dark jacket, hand in his pocket, another in a hood, their movements synced, and Rusty's snarl deepened, his body tensing, Lily whispering, "Stay, boy," but her heart pounded. Ruiz presented a medal, its weight grounding her, saying, "Lily, your trust in Rusty saved countless lives." And the crowd roared, cameras zooming, broadcasting live. But Lily's gaze locked on the dark jacket man, now whispering to the hooded figure, their intent clear, and danger pulsed. Daniels caught her glance, nodding, signaling Carter, who slipped into the crowd, her hand on her radio. Ruiz declared, the syndicate's crippled 6 arrests, including the barn attackers, millions in assets seized, and the crowd cheered. But he added, some operatives remain at large. We're not done. And Lily's throat closed. At large. The barn's third suspect. The network's threat, your marked echoing. She gripped Rusty's leash. His warmth, her lifeline, and accepted the medal, her voice firm. Rusty's the real hero. This is for him. And the crowd went wild. A reporter lunging, yelling, Lily, Are you scared they'll come for you? And Ruiz shoved her back, barking. No questions, but the cameras kept rolling. Lily's resolve blazing. She'd face blades, bullets, a mob, and wouldn't break now. Tom hugged her, his voice choked. So proud. Kid. While Sarah whispered, "Be careful." And Lily nodded, her eyes on Rusty, his scars, his fire, knowing the network was watching. A scuffle broke out, shouts erupting, Carter tackling the dark jacket man, his radio clattering, his voice snarling. "You're finished." Kid as Jennings swarmed, cuffing him, the crowd gasping, some cheering, others filming, a cowboy in a black hat roaring, "Keep that girl safe." And Daniels rushed over, saying he had a burner phone, coded messages. "They're hitting us here." And Ruiz's face hardened, muttering, "They're desperate." As a drone buzzed, spotting a van peeling out, dust billowing, and Daniel shouted, "Track it," but the crowd turned chaotic. A reporter knocked down, a cowboy swinging, screams rising, and Lily's heart raced, the network striking in broad daylight, Rusty's growl shifting, his body lurching toward the hooded man, now pushing through, a knife glinting in his sleeve. And Lily hissed, "Dad." "He's armed." Tom spun, yelling. Ruiz, as the agent drew his sidearm, shouting, "Secure the stage." And agents formed a wall, the crowd panicking, some fleeing, others filming, and Lily stood firm. Rusty snarled her strength, the hooded man vanishing, but his threat lingered. Ruiz pulled her close, his voice low. "They're cornered. Lily, you and Rusty broke their empire, but they'll keep coming." And Lily's blood chilled. "Keep coming." She looked at Rusty, his eyes blazing, and vowed, "They won't win." The ceremony ended, the crowd chanting, but Lily's heart stayed vigilant, the metal a burden. The network's blade closer. Tom and Sarah flanked her, their love her shield, and she knew the fight wasn't over. The summer heat, a forge. The crowd, a storm of allies and enemies. And she, just 10, was ready, her heart ablaze. Rusty's fire her guide, facing a war that would test her soul, but she'd never yield, not with Rusty by her side. Lily sat in a dimly lit community center, her hand firm on Rusty's collar, his scruffy fur warm, his amber eyes locked on the door, a low growl rumbling as voices echoed from the hallway, her heart pounding. The barn attack's terror, two intruders, their knives and threats still sharp. But now, months later, their story had reshaped the world, shared across screens, sparking rallies for justice, making Lily and Rusty global symbols of courage. Her braids swaying, the federal medal tucked in her pocket, its weight a reminder of their fight. Agent Ruiz leaned against a table, his suit rumpled, his voice low. "You've ignited a movement." Lily. "The syndicate's in ruins, 10 arrests. Their accounts frozen, but one operative still out there. And he's close." And Lily's pulse surged. Close. Her dad, Tom, stood by her side, his plaid shirt creased, whispering, "You've done enough, kid." While her mom, Sarah, checked her phone, murmuring, "Letters from kids worldwide. They look up to you." But Lily's focus sharpened, Rusty's hackles rising, his growl deepening, sensing danger beyond the door. Sheriff Daniels guarded the entrance, his gray mustache tense, his gun holstered but ready. Deputy Carter patrolling the corridor, their radios crackling. Lily's throat tightened. The network's vow you're marked echoing, the gray-capped man's smirk, the barn's fleeing suspect. And now, in this quiet meeting to plan a youth program inspired by Rusty, a new threat loomed. Ruiz slid a tablet across, showing news clips of protests against trafficking, saying, "Your story did this, but it's painted a target on you." And Lily nodded, her resolve blazing. She'd faced death, broken an empire, and wouldn't falter. A volunteer rushed in, breathless. Someone's in the back. Unauthorized, and Rusty's snarl erupted, his body coiling, Lily whispering, "Stay." But her heart raced. Daniels drew his gun, shouting, "Carter, check it." As the deputy sprinted off, Lily's fingers tightened on Rusty's leash, his warmth her anchor. The door slammed open, a man in a black cap bursting through, a pistol glinting, his voice a snarl. "The dog's mine. Kid, hand him over," and Lily's fear turned to fire. She shouted, "Never," and Rusty lunged, leash snapping, his teeth sinking into the man's wrist. The gun skittering across the floor. The man screaming, blood spraying, but he swung, his fist grazing Lily's cheek, pain flaring. She dove for the gun, kicking it under a chair, yelling, "Dad," as Tom tackled the man, pinning him, roaring, "Stay down," while Sarah dialed 911, her voice frantic. "Intruder, community center." Now and the man thrashed, spitting, "The network's bigger than you. Girl, you're finished." And Lily's blood iced, bigger, the syndicate's reach unending. Daniels charged in, cuffing the man, his face scarred, eyes wild, hissing, "You can't stop us." As Carter dragged him off, agents flooding the room, Ruiz kneeling by Lily, his voice urgent, "You okay?" And she nodded, breathless. He wanted Rusty. Ruiz's face hardened. "He's the last operative we tracked, a cleaner, sent to tie loose ends." And Lily's stomach twisted. Loose ends. She looked at Rusty, his scars, his fire, and vowed, "They won't touch him." Tom hugged her, his voice breaking, "You're too brave." While Sarah checked her cheek, sobbing, "This has to end." But Lily stood tall, Rusty's loyalty her steel. Daniels returned, saying, "Found his car laptops, files. He was planning a hit." And Ruiz added, "We've got enough to bury the network's remnants, but stragglers may still come." And Lily's heart stayed vigilant. The crowd outside grew, drawn by sirens, their phones filming, shouting, "That's the hero kid." But others lingered, their eyes too cold, and Lily's skin prickled. A volunteer handed her a stack of letters, kids inspired to stand up, to trust, and Lily felt a shift. She wasn't just a kid, she was a beacon, her courage rippling. She whispered to Rusty, "We're changing things," and his nudge steadied her. Ruiz pulled her aside, his voice low. "You've given hope, Lily, but train with Rusty, learn his signals, stay ready." And she nodded. A new purpose blooming, she'd study canine skills, inspire others, protect the vulnerable. The crowd's cheers swelled, but a final stranger slipped through, his hand on a radio, eyes locked on Rusty, and Lily hissed, "Daniels." There the sheriff reacted, shouting, "Grab him." As agents tackled the man, his radio spitting static, the crowd surging, a bottle shattering, chaos flaring, Lily clutched Rusty's leash, her heart ablaze, the network's shadow fading but not gone. Tom and Sarah flanked her, their love her shield, and she knew the fight lingered. But her courage, Rusty's fire, shone brighter. A letter from a girl her age thanked her for bravery, and Lily vowed to keep going, to stand tall. The crowd a mix of saviors and threats. She, just 10, was ready, her resolve unbreakable. Rusty's loyalty her guide, facing a war that might never end. But her light, and his, would burn on, unyielding against the darkness. From a mock girl's courage to a dog's heroic discovery, Lily and Rusty exposed a criminal empire. Thank you for listening. Like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales. Hit the bell for updates.